well, my first memory that I'm having right now, it would be like Terry Gilliam animation from Monty Python,
Oh yeah.
like back in the 1970s, and I loved it. It had such a big impact on me. I've done a few. I've done actually a few, like sort of short films, but nothing, I nothing that's really out there. You know, I did some cutout animation for my wife's dance company. It's always an evolving thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like which it's always like, what's my favorite right now? um, and I think right now I would say Ratatouille is a great film. Like, I really, really love Brad Bird's animated films. I think they're like Spider-Man's. Have you ever seen those super old Spider-Man? Yeah, yeah. Um, where it's like they'd never fill in the actual webbing on his costume, which kind of always bugged me. But I always loved those cartoons. That's what I remember like watching. Like, that's what drew me to the movie, was that opportunity. I just my exposure, I mean, you said it, purely American initially, right? It was that Hanna-Barbera series, right, from the
Which is good.
1980s.
Yeah.
I watched it. I'm like, this is amazing. It's so unusual, and it just had such a strange quality to it. And I found it really fascinating and intriguing and funny. That was my exposure, right? And then I discovered the comics, the Peyo designs, and I went like, wow, this is what they really should look like. And you know, Hanna-Barbera did an amazing thing, but it's not, doesn't look like the Peyo drawings to me. I'm like, and it didn't move like even the comics moved. You know, like you could feel the movement on the page. And so I just and like I said, iconic, right? I just fell in love with that. And years go by, and a couple of other American versions, you know, those live action hybrid movies, and for me, I was like, it doesn't look like that. That's leaning more toward. It was like the choice of like, it's going to lean more towards realism than the stylization of those original comics. You know, choice. So when I got a chance to direct this movie, that's what I just pitched. Like, I want them to look like, I mean, I know we're making a CG film, but they should look like the original comics, like the designs. We have to be as like close to that as possible. And movement-wise, I'm like, it's all here. It's all, the blueprint is for that. And that was my sort of pitch on it and my take on it or something. That's what made me want to do it. I had been exposed to a lot of it. I was very familiar with the sort of the DNA of it, and the backdrop and the world, right? For me, I wanted to honor that, right?
Yeah.
Without in a sort of in a nostalgic way, in a way of saying this is the sort of aesthetic and the tone of the original version. I just want to make a film that's going to feel like okay, from my point of view, I was like, this should feel like the only Smurfs movie that's ever been made. I'm like, I just want it to be able to stand on its own, but make you think of the original, and then bring something more. Because I just had questions about, just basic questions like, what is a Smurf? I still, you know, I had no idea. I was just like, I don't understand where they came from. Why are they blue? That seems pretty vulnerable. If you're living in the woods, predator could take you out like that. But those are always my questions. Like, what are they? Where did they come from? Why did Papa build that village in the middle of this magical forest? Why they're protected? They're hiding. So this movie is just an opportunity to tell an origin story or answer those questions. You know, it was great. It was great because all I received, all the production received, Paramount, was support. They were just excited about the opportunity. They were excited. They loved the idea for the movie. And they were really great collaborators, and I would say, and supporters. And if we were veering off just in terms of like the legacy of Smurfs, they would just be like, just kind of help steer us back on track. But it was a great collaboration, really, 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 really beneficial. It was great. She's amazing. She's
a producer. She produced.
She's a producer on the film. She plays for Fett. She produced music and sings. She's tremendous amount of involvement and a very like, she's a free thinking person. So she's just like, she is creative through and through and detail oriented and open-minded and funny and a great performer. And when it came to putting the music together, there's a great score by Henry Jackman, but just the musical side of it, Rhianna and her team from Rock Nation were brilliant in helping just shape the sound for the film, the whole sonic landscape. It's incredible. And she's another one. She was a huge Smurf fan, like huge, like and so knowledgeable. Like knew way more than I would ever know. Like she's like detail oriented about that series from the 80s. Like she knows every single episode.
C'est noté dans le calendrier, Grosstrom.
Merci, je trouve le calendrier.